Oh, I thought you were doing it. I thought we were doing it from.
Good. Count us down. All right. Okay. Good morning. Good morning, and welcome to Friends of Recovery New York Recentering Recovery event. I'm Dr. Angelia Smith-Wilson, and I am here at the Hive in Albany, New York, to give you a taste of what does it look like to open up a recovery community organization / gym / this is a wonderful place. So today you'll be meeting with Nate and his team. We're going to walk you through what it looks like to be in the Hive, talk with the group, and we're just going to learn about what the Hive is all about today as we look to showcase the power of recovery. So again, I'm here with Nate.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Hive of Hope. So excited to have Friends of Recovery New York in the house today. Really excited to show you guys the place. It looks better than I could have ever envisioned it looking. We're really excited to get our doors open soon and get people in here and utilizing the space. So I look forward to showing you guys around.
All right, so why don't we do that, Nate, to show us what it is when you come into the Hive.
Absolutely. So you come in through our front door, obviously. All right. Our cafe is going to be open to the public. So we're going to be serving protein shakes, acai bowls, coffee, tea, all that sort of good stuff. This half door here that you see kind of delineates where our members can get into and where the public can get into. So we strongly encourage the public to come in and support us. The only way we're going to be sustainable is if we have the revenue coming in through the door. So we desperately need your help. Coming through the cafe, our members will be able to utilize the rest of the space. So I'll walk you up to the front first.
Wow, look at this kitchen. This will be the cafe, though, that we turn it into, right?
Yep, this is going to be the cafe where we'll be serving the protein shakes, acai bowls. I envision people coming in at 8 o'clock in the morning, sitting down, having their coffee, watching some TV. We hope to start having meetings at 7 a.m. So people come in, get their meeting in early, get their coffee, get the news, and head off to their day. A little Zen space here, a little reading area, just kind of a chill spot. No TVs in this area. We just want people to relax back here.
It's beautiful too with this window seating. You can just kind of really I see it as, folks just kind of sitting here, recentering, kind of like before they just start, This is reminding me of a little boutique cafe somewhere. I love the vibe. I love it.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, I really wanted this to feel like a state-of-the-art facility.
Yeah.
People in recovery deserve the best, and I feel like a lot of times they don't get that. So we really wanted to make sure that this place is state-of-the-art and someplace where people really want to be hanging out.
It's showing that, Nate. It really is. This I hope this through the video you probably don't even get a good picture of how, like Nate said, this is just really top-notch, done, clean line. I can't get enough of it. I love it. So back over to you, Nate.
All right, so here we'll actually go over to this area here. This is going to be our computer workstation, little office area where our members will be able to hop on a computer, print whatever they need to print, scan in documents, do job research, do recovery research, whatever they need to do, find housing. We'll have a couple computers here available to them to utilize. And then the rest of this room here is our recreation room, where all these wonderful folks are sitting. There's a pool table underneath there. We're utilizing it as our conference table today. Foosball, ping pong, big screen TVs throughout. Sunday football, we'll have all the games on in here. So definitely we want people to utilize the space and have fun. That's really what this place is about. We're not a treatment center. Our focus is on providing healthy activities to people in recovery and giving them a safe place where they can really enjoy sobriety. I want to highlight our supporters. We really wouldn't be here without the folks on this banner. And when I look at it, it's absolutely mind-blowing to me just how supportive the community has been. we really could not do it without these guys and without these guys sitting at this table. So really shout out to all the organizations on this banner. They're taking care of the recovery community.
And Nate's been a little modest, but behind the wall back there, he is putting together a state-of-the-art weight room. So you want to talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely, I'd love to show it to them.
Oh,
Can we go back?
Let's go back and see it.
Absolutely. So this is going to be our multi-purpose space is what I would call it. So it's going to serve as a gym where we'll do high intensity interval training classes, yoga, Zumba, anything really that we can get volunteers to come in and teach, we'll teach. We'll also try to do music classes, art classes. We really want to be as inclusive as possible. So we do have a fitness focus, but it's really much more than that. It's whatever we can find volunteers to come in and help us out with, we're going to offer within the facility. This will also serve as our meeting space. So we'll put the gym equipment off to the side, pull out folding chairs, and we'll be able to host 12-step meetings, celebrate recovery, trainings, whatever we need to do, we'll be able to use this space for that as well. I'll take you back. Back here, we just have a little like breakfast nook type area for our members, staff, volunteers to heat up their lunches, a big fridge so if they need to store their lunch or whatever. So people can really hang out here for a few hours and be comfortable.
You got a washer and dryer over here.
We got a washer and dryer, we got a shower, we got 3 bathrooms. And this is all brand new. And this is really, I'll give credit to Business for Good. They gave us a check for $40,000 to renovate this back space. We weren't even planning on using this space originally. The funding just wasn't there. And they came in and really made it possible. So shout out to Business for Good for that. Thank you so much.
Get a shot of that. Look at that. The wall of Hive of Hope. And when we sit down, we're going to talk about what that means and what that means to you, Nate.
I'm excited to share it. And I'm also super proud of those letters. I handmade each one of those letters. So really, when you don't have money, you have to get creative and learn skills that you don't otherwise have. And I've learned a ton through this process. It's really been cool. Show off the beehive here before we sit. I'll tell you the story about it when we start discussing, but this is one of those things that I built. Process. Each one of these frames here. Super proud of this, all hand built. If you guys don't know about beekeeping, I strongly encourage you to learn about beekeeping. It's fascinating creatures, and we wouldn't be here without them.
All right, so why don't we sit down and meet the folks at the table and begin to, I want to know about the beehive. What is it? How'd that come to be? What does that mean?
So this is not my first stint in recovery. I started my recovery process about 2.5 years ago. I had 7 months sober. I did everything that I thought I was supposed to be doing. I was going to meetings, I was working the program, I had a sponsor, doing the steps, all that sort of stuff. The one thing that I didn't listen to was people, places, and things. And long story short, after 7 months of sobriety, I went back out. And when I, by the grace of God, came back into recovery, I had to remove all those people, places, and things. And for me, that meant getting rid of almost everything in my life. Everybody I had associated myself with, my family likes to have a good time. So like Thanksgiving, Christmas was tough times that, I really couldn't interact as much as I might have liked to with them during those times. And I went into a depression for a while. And during that time, I was working my father's construction company. And this girl that I hadn't talked to in probably 15 years randomly sends me this message, hey, can you build this thing for me? And I look at it and it's plans for a beehive like you see there. And I looked at it and I said, I could probably build it, but it would take me way too long, cost you way too much. You're better off just buying it. But if I get squirrely in my recovery and I need something to do, I'll give it a shot. long story long, the next night or 2 nights later, I could not sleep all night, and this beehive kept popping into my head. And the next thing I knew, it was 6 o'clock in the morning. I was on my way to Home Depot to build this beehive, and for the next 2 months, I sat in my father's wood shop and built that hive, and literally tears pouring down my face from morning till night. And right about when I got done building the beehive, it was like late fall, and I walk out of the shop and I can see through the woods behind the building, and there's this guy all dressed in white, and there's smoke billowing off him. I'm like, is this God? Like, I gotta go check this thing out, right? And I meet this Vietnam veteran, Ken Murphy, awesome dude. And he's back there with 2 beehives right behind this building that I'm building this beehive in. And the smoke that you see is they use smoke in order to keep the bees calm. And I talked to him, he tells me this is the first year he's not strong enough to lift the hives off the boxes because they get really heavy with the honey and his health is deteriorating. And I told him, well, I feel like God sent me here to help you. So you let me know when you need help and I'll be here. And over the next month or so, every Saturday I would go and help him with the bees. He had a son suffers from addiction. And so he was familiar with recovery. He'd been through Al-Anon. And so he was kind of helping me with my recovery process, teaching me about the bees. I was helping him with the bees. And really, he became my only friend that I had at that time because I had gotten rid of everything. And he got really sick, and he told me we had to take a break from working the hives. And about a month or so later, I get a call from him. He says, I'm feeling a little better. We need to go out and winterize the hives. And we get out there, and if beehives don't have enough bees in them, they'll die off in the wintertime because they don't have enough to keep the heat in. When we got there, we realized that one of the hives had died off. And at that meeting, he told me his doctor just diagnosed him with 3 to 6 months to live. And that when he passes away, he wants me to take over the hive. And, he passed away in February, and I was supposed to take over the hive. Some things happened, and I wasn't able to. But when I tell people the story, they're like, well, that wasn't the hive you were meant to take care of.
Wow.
And it was right around that same time that I came up with this idea of building the Sober Community Center to help other people that, you know, when they remove the people, places, and things, what do they fill their life with? And so I felt like, and for me, that was my spiritual awakening. I had no God in my life prior to that, but I couldn't deny him anymore. There was too many coincidences with these bees. So I just felt like it was fitting when I built the center to have it themed around the honeybee. And I also want to draw attention to the honeybee because they're in jeopardy of being extinct, and we need the honey. So,
I mean, this is just when I think about Teresa Nar, Director of Education, who you'll meet in a few, saying to me over and over again, our stories have power. That is just, you know, it's amazing, right? And that's what recovery is about, right? Finding your way and being able to transform something as simple and as beautiful as thinking about the bees, right? And being able to work the hives, which I could never do. So you're brave at that as well. But having that go beyond to really kind of guide your recovery and provide purpose. That is amazing.
Yeah, it saved my life. Like if I didn't have that hive to build for those couple months, I don't know what I would have done, and I probably would have gone back out. So
why don't you help us to figure out, to learn about the people that helped you to build the hive, your volunteers, so you can introduce folks and all of the partnerships that help you, because we understand and we know how hard it is and how challenging it is to do anything for around sobriety, right? Because of the stigma attached and the discrimination attached to that. So help us to folks out there to understand who helped with this.
Absolutely. There's been so many people that have helped throughout this process. The initial people that just believed in me, you know, a lot of people told me I was crazy. There's no way this could be done. There were a few people that believed. This woman sitting over here, Lisa Ryan, now serves as our treasurer, but she was one of those first people that, you know, she was there at our barbecue that we had at the beginning and believed in me. And I want to shout out to John Nigro, Nigro Companies. Before I started any of this, I met with him and my life was in shambles, and I talked with him and he believed in me, and he said, you know what, if this is what your passion is, and this is what we need to do. And without him, we wouldn't have had all these supporters. He's really the one that goes out and helps us get the supporters in the community. Robert and Lisa Mosier Foundation, Troy Savings Bank, MVP Health, SEFQ. I shouldn't have started naming them because now I'm going to miss a few, but those are the guys that were really
We got the
been
big Hive of
huge.
Hope sign behind here with all of the
Community
sponsors. So.
Foundation, just a ton of organizations, SA, came together and really made this possible for us. But that's the money side of things, right? The real grunt work is where it really matters. And that's the people sitting at this table. Christina Padden has been volunteering her time to be our office coordinator, office manager for, I don't know how long now, probably almost a year now. She deals with me on a daily basis, which I promise you is not easy. I'm very much a perfectionist, want things done the way that I want them done. And she does an amazing job. And then it's the volunteers, it's the people that show up at the events. Tyler has been showing up at a number of our events. She was down at the Freihofers Run for Women, and I'll let her tell the story about what happened after that. It was incredible. Brian handles all of our social media stuff. He's also converting into taking over some of our website development. You really don't realize how much goes involved into something like this until you start doing it. And there's so many facets that I never even imagined. You got all the insurances, you got all the permits, you got the website, the social media, the event planning, plus them trying to do renovations.
Yeah.
It's crazy, and I would not be able to do it at all without the volunteers. Shout out to Brandon Blanchette, who is on virtual. Maybe he's not on virtual, but my cousin, he's been here with me every day for the past year, and he's been doing the grunt work with me, and it's been really awesome for me to develop a relationship with him. He's early in sobriety, so this definitely helped his sobriety process, I believe. Is he on?
He is not.
If Candace is on,
Yeah, Candace be on.
Yeah, that's probably both of them. They're in the car together, I believe.
I'll bring her up.
Hi guys, it's me, Candace.
All right, Candace, say
Can they
something
hear
for
me?
us.
Hello.
Oh, can't hear you.
Hello.
Oh no. Try one more time, Candace.
Can you hear me?
No, can't hear you for some reason.
Hello.
Yeah, we'll put a message in the
Can you
chat.
hear me now?
We'll come back.
Well, I mean, really, the important part is that they get recognized.
Can you guys hear me?
Candace and Brandon have been awesome. They were here every night this week till about midnight, getting this place shined up for you guys to be here, and they've been here throughout this whole process, really getting the ball rolling and helping us keep this thing
You
going.
might be able to hear me now.
But they've done an
And then
amazing
for New York,
job.
right? Like Ben's sitting over there.
We'll get to Ben in a few. He just
So-
crept in the hive.
So helpful. And like we had a meeting with the RCOs a couple weeks ago, and I brought up that we need policies and procedures in order to get our doors open. Ben put together
Hello?
a meeting in that week of all the RCOs to talk about policies and procedures. It's like I couldn't do it without you guys, So, and to have you here, I can't tell you just how surreal it is for me.
Well,
You
it's
might
kind
cry.
of ditto. It's ditto for us. We're just as excited because, when you think about all of the obstacles, we all know all of the obstacles with regards to RCOs being able to put brick and mortar, being able to have a place for people to come. You think about all the obstacles that would easily deter someone, but to stick it out. Christine, what has this meant for you? Like, what have you been? What's your part in all of this, and why are you here doing this? And
I think
because
that,
you're so needed, let me just say that,
Oh,
and
thank
so
you.
appreciated, not
Thank you very
just from Nate, but from all of us who know that it takes a lot.
absolutely. I think that addiction is something that has touched most of our lives in one way or another, even if you're not in active recovery. And I think that sometimes the initial act of getting sober is the first challenge. And then it's maintaining that sobriety and having a sense of community and really changing those people, places, and things, which is something that's really stressed in recovery. And I think that part of the reason why folks find it to be challenging to stay sober is because they're lacking that people, places, and things, and a sense of community. You know, it's a human need to need connection, right? And a lot of people, once they've gone through initial, you know, recovery, they come out into the community and they have no resource. They have to, like Nate, you know, distance themselves from friends and family, and they get into this trap of loneliness and boredom, and then the cycle repeats itself. Places like the Hive stop that cycle. They give you a place where you feel like you can belong in sobriety and have fun and feel loved, and like you really belong somewhere, and that you can make a difference, and that you can laugh without the use of drugs and alcohol, you know, because that's part of living a happy life. It's not just, you know, going to meetings and being in recovery. It's, can you be happy sober? And I think places like the Hive and for New York and Second, you know, Chances, together as a community, we really want to stop this cycle of, you know, door of recovery and give people a place where they can be happy in the recovery and sobriety.
Tyler, so what's your motivation? What's your why? Why are you so buzzing around the Hive?
Well, I'm like Nate, I'm a person in recovery. I have 14 months clean and sober. So I too have relapse as part of my story. And for me, many times in the past, I didn't dive into the community. I kind of stayed on my own, stayed around those people, places, and things, and I went right back to doing what I was doing. So this time I tried something different. I got active in the community in many different ways. I help coordinate events for a different fellowship as well. So Nate and I and the Hive work together on a lot of things. So I'm really here to help out in any way I can to spread the word. I was a part of, like Nate said earlier, the Freihoffers Run for Women back in June. And that was a great day overall. It was hot, but we had a great time. There were so many little kids and women running in the race, and we were talking to some of the other volunteers in between races, and a couple women came up and they asked me, you know, what the Hive was about, and I kind of explained, you know, it's people in recovery trying to make a change in the community and kind of get out there and show that it doesn't stop at addiction. You know, you're not, once an addict, not always an addict. You can move on, you can be more, you can help the community. And I started to explain this and a little bit of my story to these women. And I didn't think anything of it. That's just part of service and part of doing that and being there. So afterwards, when the event was over, I think about a week later, Nate received, well, for me, he received a letter from one of those ladies and completely outlined how grateful she was for our conversation and how she had said, you had really touched me, and I wanted to let you know that there's someone in the community rooting for you. And at the next Freihoffers event, I'll follow you wherever you go. And it was just a wonderful, touching letter. I wish I had the copy of it today, but it was a fantastic just tribute to the fact that we do connect with the community and people do see us and we are making a difference. We are making a change. So that was just inspiring for me, and it helps me push forward. So.
Yeah. And you guys can't see these really cool shades that Tyler have on. I need to get a pair of those. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Maddie for New York swag. We need that kind of swag in our life. That is so cute. Yeah. Thank you so much, Tyler. I mean, sitting next to you, it's you. I could see she's a beam of light here. People are attracted. They try definitely being able to have a connection to you. So thank you so much. You're so lucky to have folks, you know, I have all these bee analogies going on in my head, but I'm not going to go there with them, but because Teresa's like, she's edging me on. I'm not, but she is. It's just a light. So, and this whole place is, it's just, you know, you guys can't really see, but the way the light is kind of coming in here, it's just giving me a warm feeling. And when you think about the area where you guys are located, I would be remiss if I did not thank you for being deliberate and purposeful of being in the community.
Right.
Because where you're located at 161 Central Avenue in Albany is, you know, it's not the suburbs. It's not your high-end luxury part of Albany. But it is a place where people need to be seen.
It's where the need is for sure. And one of the other organizations, Vent Fitness, was really helpful at the beginning of this, donated all those mirrors that you see in the back in the gym area. Pat Washington, the manager of that facility, was one of my huge supporters at the beginning, walked me through the gym process, walked me through the cafe process. So I want to thank Pat. I forgot where I was going with that, but real quick, a segue, playing off of what Tyler was saying. So our mission here is to replace the need to use with the desire to contribute. Our motto, sober living through giving. It's all about creating contributing members of society and giving back to the Hive, giving back to the community. So we really focus on doing service work. And I just want to highlight some of the things that we've done in the past. Prior to Easter, we were down at the City Mission. We helped prepare the meals for Easter. We were down at the Freihofer's Run for Women. We have plans in the future to be at Ronald McDonald House. We worked quite a bit now with New Choices. We try to do a lot of fun, sober events as well. We've had a number of picnics when we first started this as fundraisers in my backyard because we didn't have anywhere else to have them. So we did picnics in my backyard. A couple of weeks ago, we had a water balloon dodgeball contest with New
I'm
Choices.
really glad we weren't invited to that. Well, Ashton would have wanted the invite.
So, you know, it's all about having fun and giving back to the community, and the volunteers and future members have done an incredible job of making that happen. It's my understanding that we have Candace and Brandon, so if we could just give them a minute to speak, I'd love to do that.
Hi friends, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
We got you.
Oh, yeah, excellent. Hi guys, I'm Candace. Unfortunately, Brandon was not able to be in here right now just because he had an appointment that he had to make it to. But I gotta tell you guys, Hive of Hope is something that's very near and dear to my heart. Relapse is also a part of my story, and I've been in and out of the program for about 3 years. And again, it was people, places, and things. I stuck with an old partner, old friends, and ultimately continued to go back out. And it did not work for me. I tried to do it my way and it didn't work. So when they make suggestions, I highly recommend you follow them. So when I actually in January went to rehab, and when I got back, I had ended up going to a meeting, and I saw Nate, and I straight up just was like, if you ever need anyone to clean or sweep or whatever, like I would love to help you. And he's like, we could definitely use someone to clean. So so the next day I started coming to the Hive, and I had been following the Hive on Facebook for a while. But I'm also a perfectionist. And so when I got to the Hive, I was like people would step in my piles of dirt and I would yell at them. So it's taught me a lot about patience and forgiveness. But ultimately, Hive of Hope has saved my life too. It's given me something to do. It's helped me find a family. I'm not from New York, so I have a family now that love and support me. And I just know that it's going to do something amazing for the community. It's done so much for me, and I've swept it. Like, so just to be able to utilize like a gym and a rec center and a place to hang out, a place to be safe is something that, I don't know, I've made my best friends there. So I hope that it'll be the same for other people. And I think it will. I think Nate has, I don't know, created a beautiful thing. So thank you, Nate.
Thank you,
And
Candace.
I'm not
Love
going to
you.
cry because I'm close. So I'm just going to stop talking now. Is there anything else?
No, do we have Brandon or is he still off?
We're texting him.
You've got me.
I'll post in the chat if he's available. Okay.
Down
I'm here.
All right. Oh, there he is.
Hello.
Hi, Brandon.
Sorry,
we're
guys.
here with Angelia in Fort New York, and I explained to them briefly that you've been with me throughout this entire process, hands-on, but I was just thinking maybe you'd share a little bit of your story for us.
Yeah, Nate has given me the opportunity to better my life in a way that I never knew was possible. I've been super excited and super honored to help Nate with the Hive. I can only imagine how awesome it's going to be once it's open. The people that I've met through this program already, they're like family to me. I can call them at any time of the day, and I know that they're going to answer. And I know if I need anything that they'll be there for me, and vice versa. It really is an amazing thing that Nate is starting here, and I can't wait to see the future.
For all of your efforts. This has definitely been a team thing. It's Nate's not starting it. We're all starting it.
I'm a little short on time, so I got to run, but I just wanted to put that in. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Brandon. Really appreciate you being here, and good luck with that tattoo.
Thank you.
Yeah, Lisa asked if you're getting a B. Okay.
Well, what, when you talk about, team, and all the folks that helped you and all of these wonderful sponsors. I mean, I think, we definitely want to mention the fact that Nate did not have state funding to be able to kind of do all of this. He went out literally, and because of his story and the work that he had already started cultivating, was able to pan in on that, get all of these businesses to give on behalf of recovery. I mean, I think if you can't say, I can't say enough about transformational there and talking about, all of, when you look at all of the things that folks in recovery have, the obstacles that are there, and to be able to, get businesses to kind of see you and see the process is so, I mean, it's just an testament, to the folks in recovery and the character of people in recovery.
It's really incredible. And, my career prior to this, I was a criminal defense attorney, and I saw a lot of the bad side of humanity and a lot of the disgusting stuff that goes on in our world. And then to move into the nonprofit sector and be going out to these organizations and just people in general and having them willing to help and caring, and addiction has touched so many people's lives that they understand the need for services like this and they want to help us. And it's really been an incredible journey for me, an incredible learning curve. There's so much to it that I never expected that I've learned throughout the process, but really having the support of people. I never saw this good side of humanity before, right? I lived in this dungeon and darkness, and I thought everything was, people were all untrustworthy and terrible. And now working in the nonprofit sector, working in recovery, you see the good side of humanity. And I think people in recovery tend to be even a step above because they've been through struggle in their lives. So they understand what it's like to struggle, and they just loving and tolerance. And that's really what we try to push here is, it's all about love and tolerance.
Well, I mean, you are definitely kind of showing that. And I want to make sure that folks understand that Friends of Recovery New York, this is what we do. We go into the community. We allow the light to shine on individuals who are doing the work. So I want to make sure that I highlight that who Friends of Recovery New York is and what we're about. We are a team. And the team is here today, so we're gonna give them an opportunity to kind of talk a little bit about some of the things that they do on behalf of the recovery community throughout New York State. You already talked about Ben, so we're gonna bring Ben on over here. He's been behind the scenes.
If we could please quickly, Angela, before we get to your people, I got one more very important
Oh, that's
important
right,
person
that's
that I
right.
want to
Sorry,
get to.
sorry, this is your show.
Thank you so much. Brian, like I said, he's been doing our social media stuff. He's been doing our website. He's been hands-on within the facility. And he not only helps Hive of Hope, but he also helps an organization called Rise Recovery and Schenectady every day. He works extensively with New Choices Recovery Center. He does a lot of their social media stuff. So just want to give him an opportunity to speak about his experience with Hive of Hope and our connection with New Choices and Rise.
Absolutely, Brian.
Thanks, Nate. Meeting Nate was one of the most amazing experiences that I've had in my life. And it wasn't necessarily the first meeting because I'm also in recovery myself, and I've been working at this for a while. Relapse is a part of my story. And working within a part of these organizations is definitely a good way to help your recovery. So it was around January when New Choices and Rise offered a Sober Bowl. It's a Super Bowl with the sobriety as the focus. So people had a place where they could safely come and enjoy football and wings and those things without the temptation of having to be around alcohol or substances that tend to lend themselves to the football. And so I met Nate and Christina and maybe a few of the other Hive of Hope people there. And he had mentioned that they were kind of starting things and they were looking for people to help out. So I gave him my number, we talked, and I got on a Zoom call and said, hey, whatever you need, I'm here. And I kind of got put in, I know a little bit about social media, thanks to my daughter, because that's a little beyond my years, but like she's helped me learn a little bit about that. And so I started helping out with that and doing the social media posts, because in the world where we are in this day and age, it used to be post an ad in the newspaper or word of mouth. Nowadays, everybody's on the phone, everybody's looking at the apps and the different things, and that's where you really get engagement from the community. That's where everybody sees everything, whether or not they definitely connect with it there. That's the medium, that's the platform these days that you get people's attention and spread word. So it was something I knew how to do and something I was passionate about. I'm an actor, so I've always been good with that side of things. And Nate played to my strengths, and it was such an honor to be asked to play a part of that. So just using my energy and working off of what Nate and the people of Hive showed me, all I do is just present them and what they do and what the mission of Hive is. And it's such an amazing mission, sober living through giving. And it's just wonderful to be a part of this and out and in the community. The one thing I wanted to mention, because this is what Nate has taught me, the last relapse I had, Nate and the core group of people at the Hive of Hope did not stop until I was better. And they showed me what true family, what true love, what true support for the recovery community means. They did everything they could to find me out and to show me love and to help me get back on the right track. And that's why their mission is so close to me. And that's what I believe, that it's wonderful. And the work that we've done here in this building is amazing, but the Hive is not a building. The Hive of Hope is this group of people here that does everything and anything for people in recovery, that does anything to show you community and love and caring, and to really get that foundation, because as an addict, as an alcoholic, the thing that you need most is connection. The thing that you need is to know people care and that people love you and that the support will be there. And this building is amazing, and the entertainment value in the gym and the healthy living ideas is such a huge part of recovery. But at its very foundation, the group of people that I connected with here has been the core part of my recovery now. And whenever I call, like Brandon was saying, they're there. Whenever I ask something, they're there. So it makes it really easy and really a part of my passion to give back and to do that for the other people, to do that for the people of Albany and Schenectady and the organizations that we team with, Rise and New Choices, and to make it more in recovery than just about the relapse prevention plans and the dotting the I's and crossing the T's. It's really about connection. It's about people and giving back. And the model that Nate shows, along with the rest of the people from Hive, when you give back, it's almost easy to stay in recovery. It's helpful to my journey and it's helpful to the community. And just the things that I've seen, even working here this week to get the place ready, how many people walked by and asked us what was going on? And we got to explain what the Hive was a little bit to them. And just the buzz that started as we get ready to open here in the future. It's an amazing, wonderful thing, but at its very core, it's wonderful people providing these services to a community that really needs it. And we're thankful for all the support that we get from organizations like Friends of Recovery as well. So it's been an honor and a privilege to be able to speak here and to highlight a recovery, but also such a positive light on it, because the stigma around recovery and the people in recovery, it's tough fighting that sometimes. So organizations like the ones who have teamed up here are creating a place where we can have fun and enjoy each other and show the community how much we're really worth.
Thank you so much,
Wow,
Brian. And
wow.
you're not allowed to speak
Appreciate
anymore. If
it.
you're gonna make me cry.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I should have said right to the absolute best, because, oh my gosh, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Wow. That was amazing. I kind of, where am I going now? Okay. Back, oh, that's right, our people. But that's what it is. That's why we have to get out and go into the community to shine a light on folks like Brian, like Nate, like that's why we do it. So, okay, back to our people. So Nate, you talked about, I remember when you had jumped on the policy call, and I remember you saying your name and you're like, yeah, I'm starting the Hive. And it was like, okay, yeah, good, too much time to stuff like. And then, you connected with Ben, and Ben was telling me a little bit about your journey. Then Ashley was saying a little bit about your journey. So I am so glad you stuck with it and stayed connected. And Ben, why don't you talk a little bit about who you are, what you do, and stuff like that.
So first of all, this place looks awesome. It's just like ridiculous. I'm blown away. It's so cool. I apologize for my tardiness. It was on a Zoom call. But my name's Ben Riker. I'm the director of policy for New York. And my job really, well, there's a couple pieces. The first piece is to be an accurate representation of all of you guys, right? Like to make sure that I'm connected to the folks who are in community, in recovery, and the things that you guys are dealing with, and then to focus that message back to the people who make the decisions, right? In an accurate way that's not representative of my biases or my experience, but representative of folks in communities across New York State who are in recovery. So I say all the time, call me, text me, email me, knock on my door, whatever. I want to hear from all of you guys all the time. And I do hear from Nate. We have a really great rapport. And I listening to what everybody talk about what you're doing is like me too. Like listening to you, like choking back tears, man. But that's like the beauty of like, I'm on like this. Everybody hears me say it like constantly, but we don't always do a great job of sort of delineating that difference between clinical treatment. I'm a person in recovery with many, many, many bouts of clinical treatment under my belt over the last 20 years. I had 28 days sober a lot of times, like over and over and over and over. And the last time that I came out of treatment, the only variable was that we had a recovery community center in my town, right? So I came back to where I grew up, and we had Friends of Recovery Delaware at Seago. And that was the first time that I put together, 29 days, and then 6 months, and then a year. And then, and here I am like doing this work that is, I still blows my mind that I'm lucky enough to like, that this is what I get to do. Right. And, and it's like listening to the conversations that you guys are having with each other, about going from that place of really desperation to a place of hope and being like, I found my family, I found my people, I found, and that's what recovery oriented systems of care are about. And that's the other piece of my job. It's how do we build in every community in New York State a recovery oriented system of care with a focus on peer connections, right? That's, what do we do on day 29 when that clinical piece is kind of over? How do we support each other as people with lived experience, right? How do, I know what I needed. You probably know what you needed, but I don't know what you need, right? Like, you know what you need. And like, creating spaces where we can have those conversations about what we need. And trying to, somebody said something about, you said, I think that people in recovery are actually like, go above and beyond that, the empathy piece, I think is kind of where you're going. Like, we carry this empathy with us that it's in total contrast with the stigma, right? Like the stigma is, he's a person who was a drug user. He's a person who's in recovery, like hide your wallets, hide your girlfriend, lock your car keys up, you know what I mean? But when we do things like this, it illustrates, that it's actually the exact opposite. We've most of us have walked to sort of the edge of the cliff and looked over and been lucky enough to have somebody pull us back, right? And although we all know lots of people who weren't that lucky. So when we put ourselves in communities, we demonstrate to the people who are walking by the kind of people that we really are. And I think it's the most powerful sort of anti-stigma thing that we can do is show our faces, tell our stories, and kind of dispel those things that that people think about folks like us, right? So I'm just like happy to be here. I'm happy to we've spent hours and hours on Zoom together and never actually met until yesterday. And I scored a pair of those shades from Candace. my daughter's wearing the day camp today. I owned them for about 6 minutes.
Wow.
They were officially taken over.
Well, someone said that we will each have a pair of them. But talking about support, I want to make sure, thank you, Ben, that we get to our team and talking about support. I think about, all of the elements of recovery, and talking about support. I want to have our director of operations introduce herself, because she is the glue, the support of kind of what we do. So I'm gonna give her an opportunity, and then we'll get over to the rest of our staff, and then we'll end with our director extraordinaire of education and training, and helping to bring forth the next generation, the next cohort of those great folks, to be able to provide appropriate level, interactions with folks, peers. So Deb.
Hello, everyone. I'm Debbie Brosen. I'm a family member of a few people in recovery, and I know sometimes that has a very different look to people in recovery. But I can honestly say that I think that's just as important a voice to have at the table, because we also see things differently, and also see where people in our families may not realize that they need help, and we can help support that. So I play a support role there, and I'm also a support role at Friends of Recovery New York. I'm kind of the behind the scenes person that most of the time no one gets to see, because I'm doing all the back end office work. As Angelia says, it's kind of the glue that keeps the little pieces of the puzzle together, the HR, the payroll, the finance, and everything that makes for New York staff able to do what they do on a daily basis. So for me, this is great to be here today and see this wonderful community, this wonderful place. And, my wheels have been turning on how I can help, because I do painting. I'm an artist. I do paint parties. There's
Put her on the list.
Yeah. So, it's nice to be able to see all the different things that you have been incorporating here, Nate. And You know, it's interesting to see the different stories, like with the beehive and all the buzz around the beehive, you know, it's kind of cool. So I look forward to, you know, seeing how much more this expands and the great things that you do for the community. Thank you for having us.
No, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I think that's a great segue to introduce Lisa. She's also a family member of somebody in recovery. Her and her husband really from day one have been super supportive of this place. Her husband operates a gym and he's donated a bunch of equipment to us. So we'll be prepared when we open up our gym space. And I'm sure he'll be here volunteering as well. These guys have been at all of our events, really, and Lisa's now taken over as our treasurer and keeps me in check and helps make sure the money goes where it's supposed to go. I'd like to introduce Lisa.
Yeah.
Well, hello, everyone, and I'm thrilled to be here. Yes, my son is in recovery. And I'm sorry, I thought I'd be better today. But your story just so moved me. And actually all of this. We met Nate because my son, I'm not sure how you two met, but they met at an event, and now my son, you know, rents a room with Nate, and so that's how we got connected. And I have such a minuscule part of all of this, and from the last time I was here in early June to now, Nate, oh my God, I mean, you guys are moving, you're moving mountains, and the passion and the desire and the energy, the community, all of it, it's just, it blows me away. I mean, honestly, Nate, I just have such a small part, but it's so inspiring, and it's been great for my son. I've met so many wonderful people that are part of this community. I'm thrilled to be able to help in whatever small way I can, and I'm so impressed with this organization. Every time I blink, Nate it's gone from this to this to this to this, and it's just I don't know how you're doing it. I mean, honestly, I don't. So it's fantastic. I can't wait to see how it continues to grow and how many more people it's going to help and all that it stands for. So I'm just happy to be able to be here. Support.
Thank you so much. Your support really means a ton to me. And I just want to touch on one other thing Ben had mentioned, you know, the reduction of the stigma. We don't have to hide in church basements anymore. And that's part of the reason why I have the cafe open to the public and they can see everybody in here having a good time. I think it'll help people that might otherwise not go into recovery see that, you know what, sobriety can be fun, recovery can be fun. And it's not something that we should be ashamed of. Addiction is a disease, and we have a disease and we treat that disease, and you know, it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's a matter of fact, being in recovery is something that you should be proud of. And I love sharing my story. I love being able to talk about the Hive, talk about my recovery process, because it brings purpose to all of the chaos that I caused for many years, and the hurt that I caused to my family members and my friends. It's now I can use that experience to help somebody else down the road. And I really encourage people in recovery to help the next person, because that will help you stay sober for sure.
Who knew we would all be like behind the camera is Mr. Ashton Daly, who is our statewide. Yes, I do. He's gesturing to me. Just to introduce yourself. How are we on time?
We're good.
Okay.
Hi everyone, Ashton Daly. My pronouns are he, him, his. I am the Youth Recovery Program Coordinator for Youth Voices Matter, the youth program part of Friends of Recovery New York. As someone who lives in Albany, I know as soon as I heard about the Hive on that one call, I immediately filled out the volunteer form because I'm like, I gotta get in on this. There's an organization out in Rochester called Recovery Fitness. And the way that Nathan was talking, it seemed the same kind of model. And I'm like, absolutely. I love to pick things up and put them down. So as soon as I was able to, I was here. I've been to a couple events. Absolutely amazing. I have swept floors and wiped down benches. And I had the opportunity to get to hang out with Brian a whole bunch. And I just, seeing this place like you said, you blink and it's just so much bigger. I'm so excited to see where this is going from where it's been, and Albany needs it. Albany's not doing like super hot, but recovery is super strong because like we're all in this together, you know? So I'm super excited to see where the Hive goes. I'm so incredibly honored that I can watch it happen from inside the building, and watch it happen from outside the building as well. I know partnership is a big thing because the best way we all recover is if we do it together. So working with other organizations within the community, and then at a statewide and even at a national level, and working with individuals, families, and small groups as well. Like we all do it together because we all have different strengths that we can play towards. So I'm so excited to see that process happen as well.
And I gotta tell you, Ashton has quickly become one of my favorite people in the world. His energy is just amazing, and he's absolutely right. Day one, he was in here sweeping floors, like didn't ask any questions. Just, what do you need? I'll start cleaning. So really super grateful to have met Ashton. And he touched on Recovery Fitness out in Rochester, and I'm glad you did, because I definitely want to shout out them and the Phoenix, who have both been incredible mentors throughout this process. I honestly have no idea what I'm doing. I'm learning this as we go, and without Recovery and without the Phoenix, without Charles McCarty down in Texas, who's been teaching me about the fitness side of things, I couldn't do it without those people. So awesome job what you're doing out in Rochester, Recovery Fitness. You created a model that I can just follow now, and it makes it a lot easier for us on this end in Albany to get up and running because of the model that we have out in Rochester, which is just mind-blowing to me. I went out and visited them about a year ago, and it felt like my vision come to life. And really, they do it top notch. You look at their calendar, you look at their events, they're really incredible what they're doing out there. September 18th, they got their 5K run. I'll be running in it. Anybody that wants to come from Albany, we got some room in the car, so we definitely would love to have you.
Well, I'm a survivor of that run from last year, and I won't be there this year, but my replacement, who's gonna kick butt, is Maddie, and I'll let her introduce herself as well.
Hi, everybody. My name is Maddie Hogan. I'm a project assistant for Friends of Recovery New York. I'm also a person in long-term recovery. I just celebrated 7 years this past week. My job at For New York is mostly to provide administrative support to Debbie, our director of operations. Sometimes just because of my lived experience, I am fortunate enough to be able to advocate for the needs of the recovery community because I have been there. And just the one thing I really want to say really quick about just the importance, I know Angelia touched on the location of this facility, is that this very block, central, between Robin and Lex is like, I live here, I used right here, I literally walked in front of this very space. It obviously wasn't this, it's 7 years ago, so hundreds of times. So it's like, I know that the need in the community is very real. And also just one thing about like kind of overcoming like the stigma. A lot of people, when I was telling people about this event and doing this here and having this place here, a lot of times it's like people be like, oh, does that bother you to go back there? And I really think it's important to talk about how we need to flip the script. Like, it is empowering to come here. It is, I'm overcome with gratitude to be able to come here, to be able to see the space being set up here, because it's like we're changing people, places, and things. Like, we're also changing our perspective at how we look at things. Like, I'm not always just looking at everything as, oh, that's a trigger. Like, that's kind of, in my mind, that to me is kind of stigmatizing. So I'm all about empowering other folks in recovery, sharing my own lived experience, and communicating, to the public that might not know about recovery. I think this is great that this is here. And I also I'm an athlete, so I love the protein bars. I actually am a Ben Fitness member, shout out. I love the protein shakes, I love the gym, I've seen the squat rack. I can't wait to come here and work out and maybe volunteer somehow, so.
We'd definitely love to have you. I'm so grateful for you to be here. And yeah, the need in this neighborhood, there's definitely no doubt about it. And I'm very fortunate that I can afford to go to Ven Fitness and work out. There's a lot of people that can't do that, especially in early recovery. You come in with nothing but the shirt on your back. So to have a place And I don't know if we mentioned this, our place is going to be free to anybody with 48 hours of continuous sobriety. So there is no membership fee. We want to encourage you to volunteer. We'll try to incentivize you to volunteer and do service work. But other than that, you're welcome here with 48 hours of continuous sobriety.
Thank you, Maddie. And talking about flipping the script and helping us to rearrange and reframe how we think. Roll it over to Teresa Nar, our Director of Education and Training.
Hi, everybody. It is such an honor to be here. I'm like overcome with emotion as well for so many reasons. Just want to back up to just share a little bit of my own personal story. I was working as a clinician for many, many years, and I ran a halfway house. And I remember seeing people coming back again and again and again. And it was my vision, my dream that they would have a place like this to land when they left. And I was part of the crew that that helped create Healing Springs up in Saratoga. So we have a recovery community and outreach center there. But this center here, I mean, I walk in here and I see healthy food, and I see exercise, and I see community, and I see volunteers, and that whole idea of sobriety through giving. That is really the foundation that just touches my heart. And each one of your stories has really, it's been amazing. But speaking of stories, so since I am the Director of Recovery Education and Training, part of my role at Friends of Recovery New York is to promote our trainings. And it's really a beautiful thing. And I would offer that here as well, that on next year's deliverables, hopefully we can come and do some of our flagship trainings. So like the Our Stories Have Power training, which Faces and Voices of Recovery created, and they just created a brand new version of it. It was a 3-hour, went to a 6-hour. Now it's a 9-hour, which is sort of, the idea of telling your story in non-stigmatizing language, but they've also included justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion in that training, so that this is a place that is all inclusive, so that it feels welcoming, that people are using language that's non-stigmatizing and inclusive. And speaking of inclusion, our recovery conference is coming up. And so our theme this year is When We All Recover, and it's holistic recovery for individuals, family members, and community. So it's all of us when we recover. So I'm a family member in recovery primarily. I also work my own recovery program, being an adoptee with addiction issues. And I'm hoping that, this space is going to be inclusive of all of that. We've got families that need a place to go. We have people in recovery who need a place to go. This is welcoming and beautiful, and I'm just happy to be here and be a part of it.
This is working out so well to have you guys here to remind me of all the organizations that I need to thank. Thank you so much for being here, Teresa. You mentioned Healing Springs, another organization. So I went to almost all of the treatment centers a year and a half ago or so with this vision and talked to them about it. And I think some of them thought I was nuts. Some of them were supportive, but not necessarily believing in it. But Healing Springs, Lillian McCarthy up there was just incredible. Just the most loving and supporting person that I could have possibly asked for. And immediately, what do you need? You want my policies and procedures? You want our forms? Whatever we can do to help. Why don't you come up here and volunteer with us? We'll show you the ropes. And so really shout out to Healing Springs and Lillian and all the people up there. Meg, you guys are all amazing. You're doing incredible work. So thank you so much.
I am just continuously kind of blown away and wrapped around, what I'm constantly feeling is support, right? Support for individuals. And as Teresa has said, they're folks in the recovery community come through different doors, right? I'm a family member in recovery, and I think about all of the years that there was, only one way for individuals to receive help if you had a family member, if you were trying to work through things with a family member. And so I am just so grateful now for all of the enhancement that has come with being able to support, our loved ones who are at the center, who are fighting addiction. But again, with all of the things that happen with doing that. And one of the things we're being so light and so lovely here today. We're not talking about how, addiction and for good reason, fractures a lot of that. You yourself talked about how you had to move away from certain family, and that had an impact too on family relationships, right? So when I think about the Hive, I think about reconnecting, right? And I think about all of the connections you've made with the sponsors, the connections you've made with the volunteers, your connections you've made with us, right? It as Ashton said, it makes us all stronger. So I am just so very proud, right? I feel like I didn't sweep a thing in here. I didn't even know about this. They wanted to be an ambassador. Right. And I'm so very proud. I'm just proud that you got an opportunity to walk in your purpose and to realize your dream, right? It's just from
I feel so blessed. You absolutely hit it. I 100% believe that God's purpose for me was to do this, and it feels really incredible to live with purpose. And you guys are really teeing me up perfectly. You talk about family. I mean, these guys have obviously become my family, but my immediate family, I definitely have to shout them out. My father owns this building. Him and my stepmother did a lot of our flyer stuff and our marketing materials to get us open. And really, they've spent a ton of time in here. My father is a contractor. He's done a lot of the construction work in here. They offered us a ridiculous lease on the place. It wouldn't be possible without them. And then my mother is my rock, and her boyfriend, John, that really just, we all have our different roads to recovery, right? And for me, I had to hit bottom, and bottom for me meant when my mother finally said, you know what, I can't help you anymore. And it wasn't that she didn't want to, it was just that she, realized that I'm probably not helping with saving him every time he's got an issue kind of thing, and that's what it took for me, when she finally said, I can't help anymore. It's like, all right, well, now I need to help myself. And to now have her back in my life in such an incredible way it means the world to me. She had some health issues a couple weeks ago, and I was able to be there for her. And really, that's the gift of sobriety, is to be able to be present, be with your family, be with your friends, and be a positive influence on people. So really love you, Mom. Love you, Dad. Love you, John. Love you, Kathy. You guys are incredible, and I can't thank you enough. And thank you for teeing that up.
I'm like trying to fight that. Thank you, Mom. Well, so we're getting to wrap up. But any last words? I know that we're still kind of working through some of the kinks with regards to opening up. And I know we talked about we're not going to give a hard deadline, because this place is beautiful, and I want folks to be able to experience it the way you want them to. So we're not going to talk about any hard openings, but what do you need from us? What do you need from the recovery community? How can we continue to support you?
Things come up all the time. So obviously being here, shedding light on the place is super helpful. The stuff that Ben has done already with, hey, I need this. All right, well, let me put together a training for it kind of thing. That stuff is obviously very helpful. But like Brian touched on it, it's about community, right? So stay informed so that we can reach you. We're online, hivealbany.org. We're on social media. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram, a Hive of Hope. Connect with us. You can go into our website and put in your information so that you'll be on our listserv, so that we can get in touch with you, and we'll let you know what we need as the needs arise. We're going to be doing some construction here in the near future. We'll be insulating a ceiling, putting in drop tiles, putting down a floor. If people are handy and they want to come in and volunteer some of their time, we could definitely use some construction help right now. Funding obviously is necessary, right? It's an unfortunate necessity that we cannot help anybody unless we have money. So if you're able to donate to our cause, you believe in what we're doing here, we could really use the support. You can donate through our website. And really just, being here is the most support that I could possibly ask for. I feel incredibly blessed to be in the position that I'm in, have the people that I have in my life. And I thank you guys so much for being here. It really means a lot to me.
Well, that's it from Friends of Recovery New York, recentering recovery here at the Hive of Hope in Albany, New York. And I'm going to close with what Brian said. Recovery is about connection. So if you would like for Friends of Recovery New York to come and visit you and your recovery community organization, your recovery community outreach organization, your recovery community backyard barbecue, wherever you want us to come to showcase what you are doing and how we can continue to provide the voice of all individuals in recovery, just let us know. Hit us up on our website, info, look for info at for-ny.org if you would like for us to be there. So thank you so much. And we are buzzing off from the Hive. I'm saving that.